What's up, world? This is your main man, Grandmaster FAQS, and you can check us out anytime that you want and subscribe to our Partynerdz channel on YouTube, or feel free to follow us on our podcast, Partynerdz Podcast at 6:45 on Wildfire Radio, and any way that you can search us on your iTunes dial under the podcast app. It'd be greatly appreciated. This is your main man, Grandmaster FAQS. Partynerdz go.
Party nerds, party nerds, party nerds, party nerds, party nerds, party nerds, party nerds.
What's going on, Party Nerds? This is Grandmaster FAQS here for another installment of Partynerdz Presents Grandmaster FAQS. And today we come with the culmination of things to come. Infinity War is upon us. It's literally a year away. Not even really. It's next year, but it's not that long away. So what we seem to pose our questions for is, what has brought us here? Now, note, we've probably been through 10 years of filmmaking for Marvel. 10 years. The ultimate dedication, not only by the creators of the films, Kevin Feige, who we've reiterated on the show that he masterfully displayed chronological timelines to put this amazing display of cinematic experience for everybody to watch unfold and be in awe of. But let's think about it for a second. You know, when we're talking about comic books in general, you have a very distinct fan base, but broad in the sense of the word. You know, my grandfather read comic books, Marvel, DC, you name it, Archie comic books. He read a lot of comic books. My uncles read a lot of comic books. You know, my daughter loves watching Marvel movies with me because she enjoys the characters. It's such an admiration to see, and the dedication that's put into these characters is second to none. And I say that on both ends, on Marvel and DC. But to talk about Infinity War and how we've come to be with this film coming up pretty soon. It is October 30th. Here in the United States, Thor Ragnarok comes out in 5 days. In a few months into next year, we're going to have Black Panther that's going to be coming out. Then we're going to run right into Infinity War. The grand voila of 10 years of filmmaking. Now, we sit here and, you know, as fans, fanboys, fangirls, whatever may have you, we sit and look and see these conventions where the characters that display to us in these universal films, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., Thor, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Captain America, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. Hate him or love him, they put in a shitload of work. let's just point out the man that'll probably be the man for the rest of his life, even though he was already in the 80s. Like, the man has been acting a long time, Robert Downey Jr. He's been Iron Man up to 10 times now, if you want to count Avengers Infinity War and Avengers 4. Chris Evans, if you count cameos, has been in 8 films. Chris Hemsworth is Thor, another 8 films with cameos, so on and so forth. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm thinking as far as like a comparable example, as much as I love the Star Wars universe, Han Solo, Harrison Ford has only been in 4 movies. I'm counting that correctly. 4 movies. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Skip 3 prequels to The Force Awakens, where he's ultimately murked in the chest. 4 movies. Luke Skywalker. 5 movies. 1 was a cameo. So it's like 4 and an 8th. They've sacrificed 10 years of their lives. Now, it wasn't 10 years of their lives for them. That wasn't like something like, it was the enjoyment of playing characters that were ultimately universal branded and globally acknowledged. Marvel and DC Comics are an American-made artistic global symbol for comics. The same way that Japanese has manga, we have our Marvel and DC. But I ask now, what do we expect to see? Now, where we left off, let's see. Captain America Civil War, the entire Avengers initiative disbanded. Captain America and his group and Iron Man and his group ultimately part, which then brings forth the fact that that a conflict of unreasoning has to happen amongst these two groups in order for them to single out an ultimate goal, which is Thanos. Now, the bridge is an introduction to a singular unit that can pull from both groups and ultimately bond them back again. That bond, I believe, will be the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, from just what we know now in any of the movies, they have never met. Guardians of the Galaxy movies haven't even mentioned any of the events that happened in New York City. None of the characters by name have been in any type of mention. But I think, other than the teaser footage, for people that have taken that small glimpse into the leaked trailer, that noticed that Thor ultimately impromptu meets the Guardians of the Galaxy. Therefore, you have an Avenger meeting the Guardians, and he wasn't there for the Civil War, so he is ultimately going to bring these people together with the help of the Guardians. And nobody knows Thanos better than them. We have Ant-Man just joining the fold as of course, a in a sense, comedic character for those that have seen the first Ant-Man movie, and in Civil War, the way he was. Black Panther seems to be a deemable, awesome character, and his movie is going to be the closest one of relevance to the Infinity War saga. We may, which I think, see bits and pieces of what exactly is going to happen. Like Thor Ragnarok and the Black Panther movie, we're going to see what is to come at the end of those movies. So, for those of you that are not familiar with Marvel movies, there's after credit scenes. Stay your monkey ass in the goddamn chair and enjoy the rest of the show, because there's a lot more to show. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to go the whole route where Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had 5 post-credit scenes. But we do know there will be at least just one. And us fans that have been in it for the long run do need every tidbit of information. And you see what this whole universe has just turned us into. We're like obsessed with this. You know, the conventions since the first Iron Man has come out have been amazing. We're talking about the most diverse group of individuals meeting in one place other than the United Nations, maybe in New York. That's how great it is. But continuing on. We have new characters that are going to be on the threshold. That are probably going to be looking to carry the franchise. And not to say that it's going to be Phase 4, because Kevin Feige said Phase 4 might not even be Phase 4. It may not even be a reboot, because a reboot means you done fucked up and you have to reboot. It may just be a refresh of characters. You know, once again, Robert Downey Jr. has played Iron Man 10 times. All the characters, so on and so forth. There can be a sense that somebody or a plethora of people have to carry the mantle. Which then brings forth that Spider-Man was introduced last year. And who is the one person that is mentoring him through this entire thing? Iron Man. And Iron Man, I believe, is going to just pass the mantle on to Spider-Man. And for those of us that read the comics, we know that Spider-Man plays an essential role as a leader. As an Avenger, he becomes a full-blown leader in his own right. Even as young as he is, it's nothing. It's nothing for him. You know, and the fact that he's so young and he carries himself in that charismatic way, and that he is being tutored by someone who has led the Avengers for so long, will only make him a better leader going forth. Now, who exactly is he going to be the leader of? Who is his team exactly going to be? We don't know. We don't essentially know. We don't know who's going to die in the next 2 Avengers movies, who is going to leave us for good. But like we've seen recently with the comics, you know, we've talked about it. You know, they've managed to, you know, take the roles and give them alternate universes, per se. You know, Jane Foster is now Thor. The Iron Man technology now belongs to Riri Williams. Hulk and Bruce Banner are essentially separated. Bruce Banner is his own entity. Hulk is his own entity. Captain America could go in a multitude of different ways. Bucky's been Captain America. Falcon is Captain America. You know, this is not a singular title that somebody just goes to the grave with. It's a mantle that is passed on and on and on and on. It's never ending. You know, you can come back to life. I do know that from watching comics for so long. It is an essential soap opera that will drive you fucking bananas sometimes. We know that Adam Warlock is going to be introduced in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the third one. Now, who knows how long the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise will last? I hope it lasts for as long, because they're not a singular unit at all. They are a team. And they've only had 2 movies together, and there will be a third. Now, does Adam essentially take hold of the threshold and then carry the entire team? We don't know. We do know that Captain Marvel is going to be coming online. The Skrulls will be a villain of existence. I hope and pray that Secret Wars or Secret Invasion, any one of those 2 story arcs, enters this threshold and carries itself through. Because that would be fucking amazing. Black Panther is just being introduced. Ant-Man and Wasp is going into their second movie. That could carry on forth. We don't know exactly what could happen. You know, when we got our first taste of Phase 3, you know, everything has come to a threshold except for Inhumans, and that all in itself, don't get me started on that. It got past the TV, it went to shit. They didn't, I guess they didn't not necessarily think it through, but it was a good adjustment. Because once they threw Ant-Man in there, and they threw Black Panther in there, Doctor Strange has only had 1 movie. You know, these are people that we see going forth that are just going to carry the franchise even more. Marvel's in good shape. People tend to rag on the timeline and give it a little bit of negative balance. But I guarantee you, bad or good, you'll probably go see Infinity War a couple times. We haven't even gotten... The last stone hasn't even been found yet. The Soul Stone is still non-existent in the universe. It's the last one. The last stone that we've seen was in Doctor Strange, the Eye of Agamotto. And the Soul Stone still is displaced at the moment. But these are all questions that will find answers. We will get conclusions. And it will ultimately carry on. You know, I'm not sure how long Kevin Feige is going to continue to be at Marvel. You know, he may one day find himself to be like, you know, I'm tired of this shit. I'm out. But I hope and pray that there's somebody just waiting to pick up the torch and do just as good of a job as he has. Because for those of us that all we did was read comics, you know, we may have watched X-Men TV shows and seen like just the small animations when we were kids and never even came to the realization that this could ever happen. The 10 years of these amazing movies for us on the screen, exactly like how we depicted them in our brains. You know, yeah, we get carried away with the source material every once in a while, but it's in our hearts. That's why we care. If we didn't care, we wouldn't be so animated about it. We wouldn't give a shit. But we care. Because the stories mean a lot to us. And you know, it just goes to show, those people that made fun of nerds because they read a lot of comic books and everything like that, now all of a sudden they're right there in the movie theater with you, popular kids, because now the shit's pop. It's like hip hop in the 80s. Once that shit got on McDonald's commercials, it was whack. But this didn't get whack. It's not been oversaturated yet because they keep giving you fresh ideas. And that's the good thing. So that's all I have today. Next week, November 7th, 6:45, the Party Nerds are back on Wildfire Radio. So if you have any questions for us, please comment down below. Feel free to subscribe to the Party Nerds page on YouTube. Follow our Instagram account, our Facebook account, and November 7th, 6:45 on Wildfire Radio. The Party Nerds podcast is back on the air, live and direct for each and every one of you, providing you that taste of humor, pop culture, TV, movies, comics, whatever. It's all there for you. Cosplay, conventions. I mean, we're not trying to be the shit, but we the shit. In that case, I'm out. This is Grandmaster FAQS. Party Nerds go.
Party nerds, 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 party nerds.